another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future, and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was a senator. It passed. It was law for the longest time. And it brought down these mass killings. We should do it again. We can close the loopholes in our background check system, including the Charleston loophole. That's one of the best tools we have right now to prevent gun violence.
All right, let's get some analysis. I'm now joined by Susan Sullivan from Philadelphia. She is a professor of law and politics at Temple University. Susan, good to have you on the show. You know, listening to the president's soundbite, I mean, he's saying that these are common sense steps that will save lives in the future. I understand that, but as far as I understand, some of the proposed legislation that's floating out there doesn't even have the full support of the Democrats in the Senate, right?
That's absolutely right. It's very difficult to get full support of anybody because this is such a hot political potato. It's senators don't want to come out and sound as though they're too much in favor of controlling guns, because the rhetoric gets spun into wanting to take people's guns away. They see it as a slippery slope. So unfortunately, the trend we see is when these dreadful tragedies occur, there is this outpouring of outrage. And while I have such respect for President Biden and his desire to get this legislation through, it doesn't go through. It does reach these obstacles. So yes, you do get this outrage. You do have everybody saying, of course, we should have some kind of minimal common sense regulation, but it never seems to happen in any meaningful sense.
Professor, as far as I remember, and this goes back a couple of years, President Trump actually made hints, small hints albeit, to make minor changes after killings in Texas, in Ohio, and in Florida. Nothing was really followed through. I mean, is that because the NRA, the National Rifle Association, is a very powerful lobby?
Well, you raise a number of important issues there. President Trump did actually come out and ban what's known as bump stocks, which essentially allow a gun to be able to fire rapidly without having to pull the trigger individually. One of the reasons that's not really effective is that whenever there is a tragedy like this, there is a surge in sales. People go out and they stock up on guns or bump stocks or bullets and ammunition. There are record numbers of sales in the United States in the last year. And we've already seen, just since Tuesday, a surge in sales. Again, people are concerned it's a slippery slope. So even though you can sometimes pass that kind of very minimal regulation, it doesn't have that much effect because it's already these changes are not going to impact past behavior. So it's a very complex situation. Common sense regulation means different things to different people. I mean, if I could just point out that the suspect on Tuesday who shot these 10 people bought the gun that he used the same day. You can barely buy anything, on the same day that's going to be. You certainly couldn't buy a car that would happen, on the same day. So.
You say this is a complex situation. You know what else is complex? Is the U.S. political system, because explain this for our international viewers, because the Democrats, they control the presidency. The Democrats control the House. The Democrats also control the Senate. But because of the U.S. political system, it can be very hard to pass powerful legislation, and that's because of the filibuster.
Well, the filibuster is very powerful. I think the main challenge here in the political system isn't so much the filibuster. One would think that when you've got a president and a House and a Senate, the three areas you need to pass legislation, to pass gun control, that you'd be able to get it done. The critical difference here in the United States is that the United States Supreme Court has the power to decide if legislation, if a statute is unconstitutional. And if it is, it dies. That's it. There's no other country in the West that gives its Supreme Court that power. So if there is something in the US Constitution that's protected, the government cannot infringe upon it. So first, free speech is protected. The government can't stop free speech.
Okay.
Freedom of religion. And it's the same with guns. The Supreme Court has made a decision that you do have the right to have a gun. So even if this legislation goes through, when it's challenged, the Supreme Court is going to say no. It violates people's right to have a gun.
That's some very good points there. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. Professor Susan Sullivan, thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour. I do appreciate it.